guys, Amber here. Welcome back to In Conversation with ATF. My guest today is a guest I've wanted to interview for the longest time. I have so much respect and love for this man. I love his roles. He's the voice of Megatron in Beast Wars Transformers and also Transformers Armada, Energon and Cybertron, Optimus Prime in Transformers Animated, the second voice of Grandpa Max in Ben 10, Clank in Ratchet and Clank, and there's a new game out, Drift Apart, I believe it's called. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's Rift Apart. Yeah, it's Rift. There he is.
Oh, cool! Oh, at
Don't
least
forget,
so cool.
don't forget Arishem from the Eternals.
Yeah, and also this Sorcerer
I
Arishem from
I
Eternals.
just saw it. It was so bizarre. His arms are coming out.
And also
Hi,
Duckworth in the
Amber.
DuckTales review. Yeah.
Hi, Amber.
Hi! David, my guest is David Kaye! Oh my gosh, oh my god, like, you can't see it right now physically inside, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just going crazy on the inside. It's just like, hi.
It's an honor. It's an honor, and I love your accent, and it makes me just miss the UK even more. I haven't been over there for quite a while. I used to go all the time, but we'll get back. We'll get back at it.
I remember my friend at college, her name's Chloe. I was like to her, "Oh yeah, I'm interviewing. Do you know Arishem from Eternal?" She was like, "Yeah, I saw it in cinema last night." I was like, "I'm interviewing his voice actor tonight." She was like, "Oh, cool!" And she was like, "I'm like, do you know how much of a big deal this is?" She's like, "I'm literally interviewing someone you just saw on the big screen. Ah! Listen to me." No one understands my whole interest in autism and Asperger's.
Well, we saw it here. We got a great theater here. I've been to the theater in 2 years, and the smell of I didn't order any popcorn, but the smell of the popcorn when you go into a movie theater, it's like, oh, smell that. That was like something I hadn't. It was a 2 years. I haven't smelled that for 2 years. But we were six people. I went in the afternoon purposely. There's six of us in an entire huge THX. What was we saw the IMAX, and it was great. We just enjoyed the movie, and it was bizarre. It was very surreal when Arishem showed up.
Wow, what's it like hearing your character literally on the big screen with like so many surround speakers?
It was wild because as a kid, I'd mentioned I did a Facebook post when thanking my good friend David Hayes, who I grew up with in Canada, and we were kids, and I used to hang out with him. He used to work at a comic book store in my hometown of Peterborough. You've got a Peterborough over there in the UK as well.
Yeah, there's a theatre over here as well.
Yeah, and so I used to go to this old bookstore, and downstairs, these creaky old wooden stairs, Dave would be holding court and going through all the comics, and he had a little part-time job. I think must have been 14, 15 years old. That was his first job, and I used to go and hang out on Saturdays and go through the comics. And I remember the Eternals. I remember, of course, Jack Kirby. We used to look for on Jack Kirby stuff and a Stan Lee, and I did get a chance to meet Stan Lee, and unfortunately, Jack Kirby passed away quite a while ago. But to think that I'm sitting in this movie theater and those comic books as a kid, you dream about those worlds in our imagination, and I hear my voice coming out of this character, and being able to work with Chloe Zhao, who we did a few sessions throughout. For the film, and we were doing from home studios and stuff like that because we weren't and she won the Oscar. The day after she won the Oscar, I had a session, so there she is on Zoom on my computer. I said, "Hey, so congratulations!" I'm congratulating one of the great directors of our time.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to work with her. She's a neat director. If anybody's ever seen the film Nomadland, when she won an Oscar for that, she won. It's a real slice of Americana, real look, deep, hard look into where this country is at the moment. It is such a wonderful movie, and Frances McDormand is one of my favorite actors of all time. Was in that film. And so to be able to work with Chloe, and when I saw the movie Eternals, in the pacing, it's very Chloe Zhao. It's a different pace for a Marvel movie. People are not going to be used to it if you haven't seen it yet. But it's a love story. Aren't they all? I mean, all the movies, they're all love stories, right? On some level. And this is very much as a love story. It's a love story to the planet where we live, and it's a love story, between Eternals and humans, and it's all that stuff. And it's a long movie, and I realized, oh, it's over. I wasn't kind of waiting for it to be. So I was pleased. Not everybody's going to like everything, but I really dug the movie. So
there we go.
Yeah, so it was very surreal.
That's so cool. I wonder if anyone
Josie,
else
it
who
is
went.
time. You know, it's kind of, it is time.
Oh my gosh! I wonder if anyone else who are the people in the cinema recognize you as the
Oh
voice.
God, no! I can hang on. I gotta get the. Where's that toy I just got? Where's my toy? Hang on. See, everything is all over the place. Oh, here it is.
Yes, this is a toy to do with
Yeah,
Arishem.
I'm debating whether to build it or not, or keep it in the box.
Oh, wow!
Or get another one, the
That's
Lego.
cool.
Or get another one and keep this in the box, and then build that one. I don't know.
Sign your own box, and then in the future it'll be worth hundreds.
That's right. Worth a couple dollars.
That's
but
so
yeah,
cool.
There he is.
Wow. Indeed. Wow. Oh my gosh. Like, you've made my night. I've had a bit of a rough day at college, and wow, you've made my night.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my gosh, like, okay, right, okay, so moving on from Eternal, I have a little list of questions I sent to Michelle, who helped me organise this interview, for those wondering. So I'd like to really just work on these things first, and then kind of go into the miscellaneous questions that, I pretty much ask everybody, and then I tell my story and everything like that. So, what cartoons did you grow up with when you were a little kid?
Bizarre ones. I mean, mostly Bugs Bunny, and Tex Avery, and weird, bizarre. It's those cartoons. If you watch the beginning of those crazy, creepy horror movies, in the background, you hear that there's always like a television playing black and white cartoons, the creepy cartoon music, and it's those weird cartoons, and it's an old haunted house. That's the kind of stuff I grew up with. I grew up with famous monsters of Film magazine, and we were in the monsters and masks and scaring our friends scaring each other, me and my friend Dave, and I was all into Bela Lugosi and vampires and Vampirella and all that. So the cartoons, I never really watched Transformers or I did see. I remember a bit of G.I. Joe, because we had actually those dolls.
Oh yeah, because you were in the Deked G.I. Joe, weren't you?
That's right. Now, which stands for done in Canada. That's what it was done in Vancouver.
Actually.
Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff I grew up with. But Bugs Bunny, and it's weird because one of my best friends, Eric Bowles, is the new Bugs Bunny. So it's so strange how we all end up at this point, but we're just being kids. And a long time ago, I did a cartoon called Cleo the Misfit Unicorn, and I played this hippopotamus. Hey, Cleo, hey, hey, and it was a striped hippopotamus. And Mickey Rooney, the old American actor, gosh, he passed away a number of years ago now, but Mickey Rooney is like one of the famous child actors in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And we had a rap party, and I remember him saying years ago, we're all kind of huddled around listening to this Hollywood legend, give us some advice. Let me all tell you something. He said, don't ever grow up. Don't ever grow up. And that stuck with me. I said, yeah, you're right, especially in this business. And it's really to have that childlike outlook. Every day you get up and something is brand new. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not bored. You're like a new soul looking to find new experiences. That's how I think he meant us to keep our youth, is to don't ever lose that, right? And this is a little tip for voice acting or acting, is every time you do a scene or a line, you may have to do it 4 or 5 or 10 times, but every time you do it, it has to be fresh, new. It's got to be a new thing. Like, I don't know what I'm going to say to you next. I don't know what you're going to say to me next. That's how it has to be. It has to be organic, right? Yeah. And so there was a lot in what he said. So it's very true. Very true. I ramble, so just stop me if I.
It's okay. It's okay. Speaking of G.I. Joe, I think I've asked you this before. I can't remember. Did you meet Chris Latta when you worked on G.I. Joe?
No, I wanted to.
Oh yeah, because I've just remembered the cast recorded in Vancouver.
So, most cast recorded in Vancouver. Chris Latta recorded in Los Angeles at that time, and I didn't know I was working with greatness at the time until after he passed away. I went, oh my God! And then I met people down here that work with Chris, and he would sweat. He was really he put everything into it. It's just I don't know how he did it, but it's just amazing to be able to share the animated screen with him anyway.
The credits.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'd love to ask you. Okay. Sometimes I just lose the plot, and I'm just like, "Am I really talking to you right now?" I'm sorry. I needed to calm down. Okay. So how I know you probably get this question a lot, but I don't know the story.
Mhm.
How did you become a voice actor? And then how did you get cast on Transformers Beast Wars?
I always say it was kind of a little white lie. Essentially, I was at the time I was born in Canada. We emigrated to the U.S. Let me start there. But so I was living in Vancouver at the time, and I was in radio, and I was on when radio, was a bigger deal. And I was on a morning show. Did a bunch of day parts, but I was on a morning show with the morning zoo, and I started doing characters and things like, howdy boys and girls, Cowboy Dick here, and I wrote a little song, and I'd be part of the cast of idiots, or whatever they call them. And I used to do, stunt boy. I would take a recording device and go to a clothing store, and I would plug in a skill saw, close the door, and start it up, and then record until somebody came over. Hello, are you okay? Is everything okay? Oh yeah. And then and so stuff like that, goofy things. And then I had lots to do, because doing a morning show, you're up at 4:00, and then you're kind of done by 10, so you have all day. And so, well, I got kind of bored, so I noticed there was an ad about a commercial modeling course, and I thought, well, what the hell, So I went down to this new place in Gastown in Vancouver at the time, and I went in and inquired. The modeling part was kind of like, well, wasn't really too much interested, but it was interesting. But the commercial part, I met my first agent, Ross Rhodes, and he would do classes, and we learn lines and do commercials, and I think this is kind of fun. And then I drove him home one night. He said, I'm just a brand new agent here. He said, if you're interested in pursuing this, I think you go home and think about it, but I'd like to represent you. And I go, sure, I'm good. He says, well, do you want to think about it? I said, no, let's just do it. And it was about, I don't know, maybe a month or two later, he called and said, do you know how to do voices? I said, sure. I don't know what he's talking. I mean, I thought voices, I guess I would, whatever that meant. And he said, well, I'm going to have an audition. I want you to come pick up the sides. Before there was, or I think maybe he faxed them to me. I can't remember. And it was for G.I. Joe, Great American Hero. They were doing a series in Vancouver. And I said, sure. So I went and read for it at the studio. And I didn't really know what I was doing. And I read a few characters. And the voice director, had me pick up the sides for General Hawk, and there seemed to be some sort of interest. And he said, it's kind of use your own voice, and he's this and he's that. And I went, yo, Joe, follow me toward the danger. It's one of those characters, come on, guys, let's get, the hero, like father figure, whatever. And it was 6 weeks later, I was skiing on a local mountain, and I had a call back, and I said, well, I'll just go up skiing for the morning, and then I'll come down and I'll go to the callback. Well, I got to the car. It was in Vancouver, Grouse Mountain. I took the gondola down, and I was like, hey, where's my keys? Oh my God, I can't find my keys. Now what am I going to do? I'm up on the mountain, on the North Shore Mountains, and I have to get way over the other side of the city. In Vancouver, it takes forever to get anywhere. And so, so I went to I went into the chalet at the ground there. I said, listen, I don't know. I think I may have lost my keys. And the woman says, does your key have a yellow glowy tag on it? I said, yeah. He says, actually, somebody found them on the mountain. They're coming down right now. I go, oh my God.
Good Samaritan. Good Samaritan.
Whoever that was who found those keys on a run, what are the chances coming down in the gondola? So I made the call back, barely got there in time. I read the thing, and then I think a couple of weeks later, I got a call. Hey, so congratulations. They want to hire you for General Hawk. I go, what? For what? He goes, the GI. I go, Me? So it was my first cartoon.
Yay! Oh, that's if you went for that Samaritan, you probably wouldn't have been on it.
I don't know whoever it was. Thank you for my career. And that's when I first
We
started.
love you.
Shock and Ian Corlett and all those people.
And Scott McNeil. And
No,
Maurice
Mr.
LaMarche.
Scotty. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. Actually, here's a good question.
Yeah.
Who do you prefer voicing, Optimus or Megatron?
It's a tough question to ask. Before, if Optimus came along, I would have said Megatron hands down. And then now that I've had Optimus, there's now that I've sort of sat with it and we're not doing it anymore, I thought, oh God, there's so much I could do. There's a lot of nuances, things. Every role, I know this is kind of a canned answer, but every role is the best role. I mean, because the fact that they hire me and give me a chance is still beyond me. It's amazing that they give me a chance. Megatron is much more fun because it's very Shakespearean. If I do this, this will happen. If I do that, maybe this will happen. There is the rub. It's all Shakespeare. It's a question, answer, and Optimus is more like he's trying to find his way. He's basically my voice, but he's just trying to find his way. He's been thrown into this position. He has to be a leader, and but yeah, I felt more comfortable as the series went along with Optimus.
Wow, that's a really good answer there. How did you get cast on Beast Wars?
Beast Wars, yes, that question. So we're getting auditions, and I would get stuff read, and then I get this whole pack of stuff, and it was like sketches and pictures and relationships between characters. And now I had never seen G1. I just never I guess got around to watching it. I wasn't familiar with it, so I didn't have any preconceived notions as to how this character might sound. So it was the first set of auditions in Vancouver, and all my friends were there. We were horsing around. I went in the booth with I think Doug, who played Pterosaur. Doug Parker was conducting auditions, and I read a bunch of characters and did the Megatron thing, and he seemed to like that. And I did a couple other things, and then I got the callback, and I went to the callback probably about maybe 3 weeks later at a different studio, and I walked in, there's like no one around, there's no one there, and then someone comes out, oh great, you're here. So it wasn't like a whole bunch of people. I was just there. They had me read both Optimus and they had me read Megatron, and that was when I was reading Megatron. There's a lot of people behind the glass, their heads like meerkats would kind of pop up, and they talk and discuss and try this and try that, and I knew they were interested. But yeah, and I got the thing. I kind of had an idea what I was going to do, but then when I got to the callback, I'm like, oh, geez, I don't know. And I went with that old answer that I give all the time. It's very true. I kind of think, well, Anthony Hopkins is kind of cool and Sean Connery. What if I combine those two and then add some kind of a lizard quality or a dinosaur, a bit of a. It was a sort of a not a lisp, but on the S's, I would do sort of something funny on that. So it was, yes. It was, I don't know if I said excellent. I remember it, excellent. No surprise. Side guns, and I just sort of started whenever I did the scene, and they seemed to like it, and that was what they went with. Yeah.
So I'm guessing you weren't told to replicate Frank Welker's Megatron in that case.
No, there's no mention. I didn't know Frank. I mean, I didn't know Frank Welker until I met Frank Welker many years later in LA here. The coolest thing for me is that Frank Welker was I've been on a bunch of Scooby-Doos, and my first time I was on a guest star role, I got to play the Throwing for You Meddling Kids, and then Frank was there, the nicest guy in the world, and I'm there, and down at the end of the room you hear this, okay, and I go, oh my God, that's Scooby-Doo. I grew up with that. I as a kid I watched Scooby-Doo, and Fred and all those. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So what was it like working with Corey Burton on Transformers Animated?
He was the best. Corey and I used to do announcer off every time I'd see him. He's such a nice guy. Yeah. Hello, Corey. It's David Kaye. He'd do his announcer. This is the announcer speaking. We'd be goofing around. I don't know if we had a real conversation. We just would do these weird voices together, and he stood beside me. So when I got cast in Transformers Animated, I was Optimus, and he was Megatron. But for the first few episodes, Sue Blue behind the glass goes, "Okay, Megatron." And I'd like, "Oh yeah, that's not me. That's." And then Corey, I'm not. Oh yeah, no, I'm not the bad guy. I'm the other one. All right, that's right.
Yeah.
Corey's a sweetheart of a guy, really gentle soul, and I haven't seen Corey for years. Never mind the pandemic. It's he's the reason I bought a Tesla. He was one of the first early adopters over here, and I used to call him.
Really?
I said, Corey, so how's it? He's, oh, you can come and drive it if you want. And he was like, he wanted me to test it, and one of the sessions I was working with him, I got a chance to sit in it, and I think we were doing Avengers Assemble way back when Corey was in. And I called him a day. I said, "Hey man, it's DK. So I just want to let you know that I pulled the trigger. We got a Tesla." So he was the reason I got into the electric cars.
So cool. Well, I'm in fact in touch with Corey, and I recently spoke with him. I think after who Will Ryan is, the voice actor. He passed away recently. Yeah. Corey knew him because he's worked with him tons of times, and we've just recently started talking again. And he's dipping in and out of his hibernation. But yeah. Wow. I'll definitely, if we do video chat in the near future, I will tell you said hi, because I mean all the people I've spoken to. I've spoken to Frank Welker, I've spoken to Peter Cullen, I've spoken to Tara Strong. They haven't spoken to Corey in years, and I literally just spoke to him the other week.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I should just leave him alone, because he's a private guy, and I dishonor that. But he's a gem of a human being, and I do.
We love him. I'm hoping to get him on the show in the near future if he's up to it. So.
Are you getting a noise like a goofy noise of high-end picture? Is that just me?
A little bit. I could hear it in my ear. I was like, is that my headphones or is it the other end?
All right, I hope it's not.
That's fine.
Cool.
So I was going to say also about Sue Blue. She was the voice director for Beast Wars as well. So what was it like seeing her again after 10 years?
I called her when that audition. I saw the auditions come through, and I was still living in Canada at the time. I said, "Hey, Sue, did I call? I think email was. I think we were emailing it by that time." I said, I really would love to read for the new series. Oh, baby, honey, yes. Oh my God, yes. We want you. Oh my, yeah. So I was at that time I was commuting from the Los Angeles to Vancouver on a pretty regular basis, sometimes once a week. And I came down and read for the part and saw Sue, and that was a bizarre audition too, because there they all were, and I thought, okay, here we go again. Megatron's back, and I did my Megatron, and I did a couple characters, and they all said, listen, why don't you pick up Optimus? Take a look at Optimus again. Oh, okay. So I went outside, and they brought people in, and I looked at the lines, and they brought me back in, and because they were having trouble finding, a voice with they're kind of thinking of Tom Hanksy type thing, or some kind of younger. Anyway, I just started doing my thing, and they all kind of looked the Meerkats again, and then and Sue, oh honey, that's great, yeah, that's, and I'm thinking, Optimus? Well, okay. And then I got a call. I was driving through Chinatown here in Los Angeles, heading down to play Squash, the racket school.
I think so, yeah.
Random sport, and I just fell over as a kid. And it's my agent. She says, "Hey, DK, good news. So they want to hire you for Transformers." And I'm thinking, okay, here we go. Megatron's back. So they put they want to book you for the role of Optimus, and I go, kind of have to so. You mean Optimus? She says, yeah, they want to book you for Optimus, and are you sure? Because I thought for sure it was going to be Megatron again.
When did you find out it was Corey Burton voicing Megatron?
Not till we got there, because they don't say anything. You show up and go, "Oh my God, hey!" You can't talk about it. NDAs. There's nobody talking, so you don't. Until you get together for the first recording, you don't. You're on the show.
Yeah. Why do you think Beast Wars has become as big as it is today? Like on par with the likes of Prime, G1.
I don't know. I think it was the writing had a lot to do with that. Bob Ford, Larry DePillo, and those writers. I think the characters. I think it was a hell of a cast. It's wild. You get cast in a show and these voices, and you don't know how long they're going to last, and sometimes they last for a few years too. But to think that this is still this is still going. this thing.
Oh yeah, that's your yes button. I've seen that on
Yeah,
your website.
I think it's still going. Is bizarre because we're always oh, I wish you were in this or wish you did that part. But I said, look, the fact that we're even able to inhabit these characters for a little bit of time is an honor. Like the fact that we even get a chance to play this character. How long, that goes, determined by the gods. It would be great to get the crew back together, of course, of Beast Wars or TF or Transformers Animated and finish out some stuff. But that's just the business, just the simple fact again that I was hired to play this character and he becomes iconic is great. That's why I miss the cons. Because it's great to do Zoom stuff, but it's really in person is a chance to thank the fans, because without you, Amber, without the fan, none of us exist. Doesn't continue on. There's no franchise. So it's an honor just to say thank you, because in my mind and a lot of my peers' minds and people I work with, so we're just doing like a voice of a thing, but it's it's much more than that, and I'm very aware and very thankful and grateful I even get a chance to do that. It's to do an original character like Clank, and just come up with a voice, and that's still going,
Yeah.
It's quite
James Arnold
interesting
Taylor.
to think that I'm still around and they love me after all these years.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's just so. Every day I can't wait to get in this room.
All right, what do we got? What do we got today? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a surprise. Also, just a quick message. If you see me doing like this with my hands or anything like that, it's a little hand tick I do because of my autism. When I'm happy, I end up like flapping my hands, anything like that. I do I just do weird hand movements. It's just my way of saying I can't control myself. I'm very happy.
That's how I get into character for Megatron.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's just like yeah, excellent, what a pleasant surprise. Yeah, they use that in the he does a little thing. That's how all the gestures and everything. It goes into all these characters. It's who I am. It's who you are. It translates into these because these characters have a soul, right? They have a heart and a soul, and they breathe. They live and breathe. So that's all. It's unique to them and to us. I think it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Wow, that's so cool. Wow. I honestly I'm honestly just gobsmacked, really.
So what you do made it into so that's part of Megatron is, which is brilliant. It's so good.
Yeah, definitely. So I know you've obviously met Frank Welker and you've met Peter Cullen as well. Have you ever talked to them about your portrayal of?
No, I'm afraid to. They're just wonderful human beings. We don't talk. I haven't seen Peter for a while either. Last time I saw Peter was in a pharmacy. I was just picking up some vitamins, and I could see this little head moving down the other aisle. He's shorter than I am, and I'm looking, hey, Peter, that's David Kaye. Peter, how are you, man? Hey, how are you? Yeah, good to see you.
Oh my god.
Transform and roll out. It's just Peter's a gem of a human being. I mean, people in the voiceover community, there's rarely at all anybody that I just love hanging. These are my people, and when Rob Paulson and I talked about this before about, when we don't get hired for something, it's not, sure, it's a disappointment, but it's more of a disappointment you don't get to hang out with the people that you really want to hang out with. Your friend. That's sort of, you get in, and that's what I miss. The pandemic sort of really ruined that, is we couldn't be in the same room together. Hopefully that's coming back. Crossing fingers. But that's the biggest thrill, is being in the same room, is feel like you were in school again. You're in grade school, and that's where the real joy is in that room together.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Yeah. But wow, I'm actually speaking to Frank this weekend through GalaxyCon.
Oh, that's very cool.
So I can't tell you how
I love him madly. It's just
are you still in touch with any of these guys?
We get a chance. I mean, again, it's been 2 years of sort of being in our own studios. I've seen a few close friends, but You know,
Like Tara Strong.
yeah, I've seen Tara. She's I think she's back in Toronto at the moment, back near my neck of the woods. She's very happy, right?
Yeah, of course she is.
She's great. I'll text her now and again just to check in and say hello. And I know that Bowser was there in Toronto interviewing her for something, and uh, we all do keep in touch. Talk to Eric Bowser all the time. Text back and forth, and there's a few people I have gotten together with, and yeah, I moved out of the city because it's just getting too noisy and too. LA is really a cool place, but being out in Ventura County feels like I'm actually in like the real California out here, which is really kind of cool. I can see the Channel Islands out my window. The beach is like 20 minutes that way.
Wow.
They're growing grapes just over here. There's citrus trees, and they're like, at night I hear owls. Instead of like a whirling helicopter above the LAPD looking for somebody. I go, come on! But out here, all you hear is whoo, 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 whoo. The odd coyote off in the distance. I go, oh no, this is good. So, yeah, the pandemic, I think, made us all think. A lot of people go, what do we really want? What is it? What is really important? That's what it really did. I mean, as horrible as this thing is, it does sort of focus you in on like what brings you joy.
Yeah, I agree.
In this room and what I do for a living brings me joy. My family brings me joy, and these toys, they bring me joy. Yeah. So yes, that's what's important.
That's such a lovely message to end it on. Wow,
David. So do what brings you joy.
Yes.
Yeah. Right?
David, where can we find you on social media?
Where can you find me?
Gosh, let me just check.
Everywhere.
DavidKaye.com is a website, and there's all kinds of cool, fun stuff on there. And
you can get your own yes button.
Yes, actually, the there's a
sale in the store. Wow, what a coincidence!
Yes, I get some autograph pictures on there because we can't, of course, do it in person. But there's lots of stuff on the store, and also on Twitter, it's at DKAYEVO, DKVO for voiceover, and the same goes for Insta. I think that's it. I think there's a Facebook page, David Kaye.
Oh yeah, your public page. I remember that. I remember when I tweeted you asking if you could say hi to me just when the pandemic started. I was binge watching Transformers Armada, and that was actually a few days before I talked to Corey Burton. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so there's that too. So I'm out there.
Yeah.
Hi.
That is cool. Right, well, I think that pretty much wraps this interview up, so thank you to all of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely, thank you. Gracias, arigato.
Ciao.
I hope you all have a good day. Goodbye from me, goodbye from David. We'll see you around. Bye! And cut.